So guys, let us start with third part of our second chapter, that is concrete materials. The aim of development of new concrete technologies was the requirement of high durability of concrete structure. So there are various types of concrete like Portland Pozzolano cement, Portland slag cement, newer mixtures, polycarboxylic ether, self-healing concrete, fiber reinforced concrete, high strength concrete, high performance concrete, nano concrete, and light transmitting concrete. So let us start with Portland Pozzolana cement. Portland Pozzolana cement is integrated cement which is formed by synthesizing OPC cement with pozzolanic materials in a certain proportion. It is commonly known as PPC cement. Pozzolana is a volcanic powder found in Italy near Vesuvius. A pozzolanic material can be natural or artificial, which contains silica and aluminous in a reactive form. This materials usually doesn't possess any cementitious properties, but when it is mixed with water or moisture or lime to undergo reaction with calcium hydroxide to form compounds possessing cement properties. So these are three brands which manufactures Pozzolana cement and sell it. Here are some types of Pozzolana cement, Pozzolana materials. Very first one is artificial Pozzolana, that is fly ash, silica fume, rice husk, blast furnace slag. And second one is natural Pozzolana, which contains burnt clay, pumicite, diatomaceous earth. So while talking about manufacturing of Portland Pozzolana cement, the primary raw materials used for this cement manufacture are limestone, that is CaCO2, and clay, CiO2, Al2O3, Fa2O3. Rocks are loaded into trucks and transported to the crusher where they crushed into fine particles. Fine particles of clay and limestone are fed into the air swept ball mills in desired proportions as per requirement and mixed very well before it is sent to silos for storing. This mixture is then preheated up to 800 to 1000 degrees Celsius, where calcineous of CaCO3 to CaO takes place. The preheated mixture is then sent into kiln, where the mixture is heated to 145 degree Celsius in rotary kiln. The modules form from the burning process called clinker. The clinker is cooled by the rotary cooler. This clinker is now mixed with gypsum and Pozzolana material in the required proportion, and thus the Portland Pozzolana cement is obtained. Here are some properties of Portland Pozzolana cement. Initial settling time is 30 minutes minimum. Final setting time is 600 minutes maximum. At 3 degrees Celsius, it is having 13 MPa minimum strength. At 7 days, it is having 22 MPa minimum strength. At 28th day, it gains 33%. 33 PA minimum strength. Drying shrinkage should not be more than 0.15%. Fineness should not be less than 300 meters square per kg. Initial strength of PPC is less, but final strength is equal to 28 days strength of OPC. PPC has lower rate of development of strength than OPC. Here are some uses of Portland Pozzolana cement. Used in hydraulic structure, marine structure, construction near the seashore, dam construction, etc. Used in pre-stressed and post-tension concrete members. Used in masonry, mortar and plastering. As it gives a better surface finish, it is used in decorative and art structures. Used in manufacture and of precast sewage pipes. Used under harsh concreting condition. Here are some advantages of Portland Pozzolana cement. It is an eco-friendly cement as the material used in the manufacture are made of natural recycled waste. It is very fine cement, hence very good when used for plastering works. Pozzolana consists of silica material which makes it cheap and hence reduces the cost of the cement, making it economical to use. Pozzolana cement has a very good resistance against sulfate attack. Hence, it is used in hydraulic structure, marine structure, construction near the seashore, dam construction, etc. PPC used in pre-stress and post-tension concrete members. It reduces the carbon monoxide emission from the concrete, making it environment friendly. As the Pozzolana materials are very fine, it can fill gaps between the reinforcement and aggregate, thus reducing the shrinkage, honeycomb formation, and bleeding can be reduced, which in turn increases the strength and durability of concrete. Further talking about disadvantages of Portland Pozzolana cement, the initial strength obtained is less, which affect the de-shuttering of support earliest. As it contains more fine material, handling of concrete is difficult. When compared to the OPC, setting time is less for OPC. Reduction in alkalinity reduces the resistance to corrosion of steel reinforcement. As the strength of this concrete gains slowly, curing process is very important. Any error in this could cause durability problems. Next one is Portland slag cement. This cement is produced by mixing Portland cement clinker, gypsum and granulated blast furnace slag in suitable proportions and grinding the mixture to get a through an intimate mixture between the constitution. According to the control over physical and chemical specification, slag is mixed up to 25 to 65%. Slag is a byproduct in the manufacture of pig iron. Chemically, slag is a mixture of lime, silica and alumina, that is the same oxides that make up Portland cement. Using slag cement to replace a portion of Portland cement in a concrete is an efficient way to make concrete more consistent. Among the measurable improvements are higher workability, higher finishability and lower permeability, improved resistance to aggressive chemicals, more consistent plastic hardened properties and flexural strength. Concrete with slag is easier to work and less susceptible to freeze. This particular is the image of Portland slag cement. There are some advantages of to use Portland slag cement. Very first one is prevention against chemical hazard. Use of slag cement significantly reduces the risk of damages caused by alkali silica reaction, that is ASR, provides higher resistance to chloride ingress, reducing the risk of reinforcement corrosion, and provides higher resistance to attack by soils and water containing excess amount of sulfates or alkali metals, alumina and iron, as well as to acidic waters. Strength and development. Concrete containing slag cement has a higher ultimate strength than concrete made with Portland cement. It has a higher proportion of the strength enhancing calcium silicate hydrates, that is CSH, than concrete made with Portland cement only, and a reduced content of free lime, which does not contribute to concrete strength. Concrete made with slag cement continues to gain strength over time and has been shown to double its 28-day strength over the period of 10 to 12 years. Concrete containing ground granulated slag developed strength over a longer period, leading to reduced permeability and better durability. Third advantage is lower permeability. Being slag cement very fine, the concrete made by using slag cement has better resistivity against permeability. The fourth one is durability. Greater resistance to chloride and sulfates can help to reduce corrosion of steel reinforcement and deterioration of the structure. In most developed countries, is now specified in structural concrete for a bridge, piers and abutment for protection against chloride attacks. The use of slag in such instance will increase the life of the structure by up to 50% had only Portland cement been used, and precludes the need for more expensive stainless steel reinforcing. Slag is also routinely used to limit the temperature rise in large concrete pours. The more gradual hydration of slag cement, generate both lower peak and less total overall heat than Portland cement. This reduces thermal gradient in the concrete, which prevents the occurrence of microcracking, which can weaken the concrete and reduce its durability. The fifth advantage is appearance. In contrast to the stony grey of concrete made with Portland cement, the near white color of slag cement permits architects to achieve a lighter color for exposed fair-faced concrete finishes at no extra cost. To achieve a light color finish, slag is usually specified. Slag cement also produces a smoother, more defect-free surfaces due to the fineness of the slag particles. Dirt does not adhere to slag cement as easily as concrete made with Portland cement, reducing maintenance cost. Slag cement prevents the occurrence of efflorescence, the staining of concrete surfaces by calcium carbonate deposits. Due to its much lower lime content and lower permeability, slag is effective in preventing efflorescence when used the appropriate levels. And the last advantage, that is sixth advantage, is eco-friendly. From an environmental viewpoint, the use of slag cement in concrete serves to make concrete greener. Not only is slag cement can be considered a recycled material, but it can also significantly reduce energy consumption and greenhouse gases emitted in the production of concrete raw materials. This previously unwanted recycled product is used in the manufacture of high performance concretes. Now moving towards admixtures. The biggest change in concrete in India occurred with introduction of a new concrete technology that greatly expanded the plastic and hardened properties of concrete, and in the case of master galenium and polycarboxylic ether created a new concrete terminology. So here I have mentioned some types of new technologies in concrete, that is master galenium, polycarboxylic ether, self-healing concrete, fiber infused concrete, high strength concrete, high performance concrete, nano concrete, and light transmitting concrete. So starting with master galenium. The master galenium product offering comprises new generation high range water reducing admixtures that are specially formulated for applications where slump retention, high early strength and durability are required. Concrete mixture containing this premier product can be optimized for delivery in remote locations and for use in hot and cold climates. The unrivaled technology and versatility of the master galenium product portfolio excels in high performance areas such as high strength concrete, pumpability, self consolidating concrete, low permeability, low water absorption concrete, and low shrinkage applications. Its technology provides excellent concrete performance in both the fresh and hardened states with appealing surface appearance. Based on the latest generation of polymer technology, the master galenium admixture portfolio is made up of mainly customized and tailored molecules. This wide range of solutions provide an unmatched space for producers to meet performance and placement challenges. The unrivaled technology and versatility of the master galenium product portfolio excel in high performances areas such as high strength concrete, pumpability, self consolidating concrete, low permeability, low water absorption concrete, and low shrinkage applications. Its technology provides excellent concrete performance in both fresh and hardened state with appealing surface appearance. Based on the latest generation of polymer technology, the master galenium admixture portfolio is made up of many customized and tailored molecules. This wide range of solutions provide an unmatched space for producers to meet performance and placement challenges. Super plasticizer by trade named Master Galenium was used. Master Galenium is an innovative versatile admixture based on third generation polycarboxylic ether, that is PCE polymers. Master Galenium is a high range water reducing admixture. It may be used in combination with master matrix admixture for producing redynamic concrete capable of self-compaction even in the presence of dense reinforcement. This tank includes the admixture named as master galenium. Next type of admixture is polycarboxylic ether. Now the interesting part about this polycarboxylic ether is that you have a side chain that is extremely bulky. So that means you have a main chain which is long. In all the other polymers you have a long chain structure for the polymer, but in the polycarboxylic ether and the third generation admixture you have very bulky side chain coming from the long chain. So bulky side chain are coming out from the long chain polymer, and this bulky side chain is what gives the new generation admixture a slightly different mechanism of action. The polycarboxylic ether acid has a very interesting sort of a structure where here with very bulky side chain. So again you have surface absorption. The long chain polymer molecules attach themselves to the surface of the cement, thus orienting their bulky side chain outwards. So what is happening now is after you have two absorption taking place, the structure of the polymer itself prevents the cement grains from getting together. In other words, flocculation is prevented by bulkiness of the side chain of the chemical admixture, and this process has got steric hindrance. So in the older generation admixture, the repulsion was being caused because of charge. In this case, the repulsion is being caused because of steric hindrance. That is the difference between old and new generation. Now problem with the old generation is the charge will diminish after some time. So the effectiveness of the older generation admixture in maintaining the slump would be low, whereas the new generation admixture trained to maintain slump for a longer time because they don't depend of surface charge, they depend on the availability of bulky side chain in the material. So the hydrates basically will start filling up the structure, and then your charge will go down in case of old admixtures. When water start reacting with the cement, your charge will diminish, but in case of polycarboxylic ether, the effectiveness of the chemical will last for longer time because you are not relying on the charge. Other kinds of chemicals that will have this type of an action are cross-linked acrylic polymers of or carboxylic acid with acrylic ester. These chemicals can actually provide up to 40% water reduction and fairly good slump retention. You all know about world record for concrete pumping for self-compacting concrete. It is with Burj Khalifa, 600-meter vertically upward, and we can imagine that the time taken for pumping the concrete up and then applying the concrete on site a self-compacting form would have been tremendously large, and the slump had been maintained for a long period of time, and that was done effectively with the use of polycarboxylic ether based super plasticizer. So polycarboxylic ether admixture or PC admixture act by steric hindrance because of which they are effective at low water cement ratios, especially when you want to produce very high grades of concrete or ultra high strength concrete. You have to rely on polycarboxylic ether admixture, and generally they are not known to have compatibility problem with sulfonated naphthalene formaldehyde. If you are providing a very high molecular weight chemical, you may still get some steric hindrance, but it's secondary. The primary aspect there is to electrostatic repulsion and not the steric hindrance. This particular tins or containers contains polycarboxylic ether liquid, which acts as a admixture used in cement concrete. Next one is self-healing concrete. This common problem of cracking in building has many remedies before and after the crack. One of the remedial process is self-healing concrete. The process of self-healing of crack or self-healing filling up cracks by the help of bacterial reaction in the concrete after hardening is known as self-healing concrete. It can be observed that small cracks that occur in a structure of width in range of 0.05 to 0.1 mm gets completely sealed in repetitive dry and wet cycles. The mechanism of this autogeneously healing is the width of range 0.05 to 0.1 mm act as capillary and the water particles seep through the cracks. These water particles hydrate the non or partial reacted cement and the cement expands, which in turn fills the crack. But when the cracks are of greater width, need of other remedial works is required. One possible technique is currently being investigated and developed was based on application of mineral producing bacteria in concrete. The bacteria used for self-healing of cracks are acid producing bacteria. These types of bacteria can be in dormant cell and be viable for over 200 years under dry conditions. This bacteria acts as a catalyst in the crack healing processes. In this type, the self-healing concrete bacteria is looked like under microscope. Here are some various types of bacteria used in concrete. Very for Bacillus pasteurizing, Bacillus cephariensis, Escherichia coli, Bacillus subtilis, Bacillus coniae, Bacillus baldorhinus, Bacillus pseudoformis. Talking about mechanism of bacterial concrete, self-healing concrete is a result of biological reaction of non-reacted limestone and a calcium-based nutrients with the help of bacteria to heal the cracks appeared on the building. Special type of bacteria known as bacillus are used along with calcium nutrients known as calcium lactate. While preparation of concrete, these products are added in the wet concrete when the mixing is done. These bacteria can be in dormant stage for around 200 years. When the cracks appear in the concrete, the water seeps in the cracks. The spores of the bacteria germinates and starts feeding on the calcium lactate consuming oxygen. The soluble calcium lactate is converted to insoluble limestone. The insoluble limestone start to harden, thus filling the cracks automatically without any external aid. The other advantage of this process is as the oxygen is consumed by the bacteria to convert calcium into limestone, it helps in the prevention of corrosion of steel due to cracks. This improves the durability of steel reinforced concrete construction. So, how to prepare a bacterial concrete? Bacterial concrete can be prepared in two ways: by direct application or by encapsulation in lightweight concrete. In the direct application method, bacterial spores and calcium lactate is added into concrete directly when mixing of concrete is done. The use of this bacteria and calcium lactate doesn't change the normal properties of concrete when cracks are occurred in the structure due to obvious reasons. The bacteria are exposed to climatic conditions or climatic changes. When water comes in contact with this bacteria, they germinate and feed on calcium lactate and produces limestone, thus sealing the cracks. By encapsulation method, the bacteria and its food, that is calcium lactate, are placed inside treated clay pellet and concrete is prepared. About 6% of the clay pellets are added for making bacterial concrete. When concrete structures are made with bacterial concrete, when the cracks occurs in the structure and clay pellets are broken and the bacteria germinate and eat down the calcium lactate and produce limestone, which hardens, thus sealing the cracks. Minor cracks about 0.5 mm width can be treated by using bacterial concrete. Here are some advantages of self-healing concrete. Self-repairing of cracks without any external aid. Significant increase in compressive strength and flexural strength when compared to normal concrete. Resistance toward freeze-through attacks. Reduction in permeability of concrete. Reduces the corrosion of steel due to the cracks formation and improves the durability of steel reinforced concrete. And bacillus bacteria are harmless to human life, and hence it can be used effectively in concrete. Talking about disadvantages, cost of bacterial concrete is double than conventional concrete. Growth of bacteria is not good in any atmosphere and media. The clay pellets holding the self-healing agents comprises 20% of volume of the concrete. This may become a shear zone or fall zone in the concrete. Design of mixed concrete with bacteria. Here is not available any IS code or other code. Investigation of calcite precipitate is costly. Next type of concrete is fiber reinforced concrete. Fiber reinforced concrete can be defined as the composite material consisting of mixture of cement, mortar and concrete and discontinuous discrete uniformly dispersed suitable fibers. Fiber reinforced concrete is of different types and properties with many advantages. Continuous meshes, woven fabrics and long wires or rods are not considered to be discrete fibers. Fiber is a small piece of reinforcing material possessing certain characteristics properties. They can be circular or flat. The fiber is often described by the convenient parameter called as aspect ratio. The aspect ratio of the fiber is the ratio of its length to its diameter. Typical aspect ratio ranges from 30 to 150. Fiber reinforced concrete, that is FRC, is concrete containing fibrous material which increases its structural integrity. It contains short discrete fibers that are uniformly distributed and randomly oriented. Fiber includes steel fiber, glass fiber, synthetic fiber and natural fiber. Within this, different fibers that character of fiber reinforced concrete changes with varying concretes, fiber materials, geometrics, distribution, orientation and densities. Fiber reinforcement is mainly used in shotcrete but can also be used in normal concrete. Fiber reinforced normal concrete are mostly used for on ground floors and pavement but can be considered for a wide range of construction parts like beam, pillars, foundation, etc., either alone with or with hand tied rebars. Concrete reinforced with fibers, which are usually steel, glass or plastic fibers, is less expensive than hand tied rebar while still increasing the tensile strength many times. Shape, dimension and length of fiber is important. A thin and short fiber, for example short hair shaped glass fiber, will only be effective the first hours after pouring the concrete, that is reduces cracking while the concrete is stiffening but will not increase the concrete tensile strength. Here are some effects of fibers in concrete. Fibers are usually used in concrete to control plastic shrinkage cracking and drying shrinkage cracking. They also lower the permeability of concrete and thus reduces bleeding of water. Some types of fiber produce greater impact, abrasion and shatter resistance in concrete. Generally, fibers do not increase the flexural strength of concrete, so it cannot replace movement resistance or structural steel reinforcement. Some fibers reduces the strength of concrete. The amount of fiber added to a concrete mix is measured as a percentage of the total volume of the composite, that is concrete and fibers, term volume friction. Volume friction typically ranges from 0.1 to 3%. Aspect ratio is calculated by dividing fiber length by its diameter. Fiber with a non-circular cross section use an equivalent diameter for the calculation of aspect ratio. If the modulus of elasticity of the fiber is higher than the matrix, that is concrete or mortar binder, they help to carry the load by increasing the tensile strength of the material. Increase in the aspect ratio of the fiber usually segment the flexural strength and toughness of the matrix. However, fibers which are too long trend to ball in the mix and create workability problems. Some recent research indicated that using fiber in concrete has limited effect on the impact resistance of concrete material. This finding is very important since traditionally people think the ductility increases with concrete reinforced with fibers. The result also pointed out that the microfibers is better in impact resistance compared with the longer fibers. So why it is necessary to use fiber reinforced concrete? It increases the tensile strength of the concrete. It reduces the air voids and water voids, the inherent porosity of gel. The increases the durability of the concrete. Fibers such as graphite and glass have excellent resistance to creep, while the same is not true for most resins. Therefore, the orientation and volume of fiber have a significant influence on the creep performance of rebars and tendons. Reinforced concrete itself is a composite material where the reinforcement acts as the strengthening fiber and the concrete as the matrix. It is therefore imperative that the behavior under thermal stress for the two materials be similar so that the differential deformation of concrete and the reinforcement are minimized. It has been recognized that the addition of small closely spaced and uniformly dispersed fiber to concrete would act as crack arrestor and would substantially improve its static and dynamic properties. Here are some different types of fiber reinforced concrete. Very first one is steel fiber reinforced concrete. Second one is polypropylene fiber reinforced concrete, that is PFR, cement, mortar and concrete. GFRC, that is glass fiber reinforced concrete. Asbestos fibers, carbon fibers and organic fibers. Starting with steel fiber reinforced concrete, a number of steel fibers types are available as reinforcement. Round steel fiber, the commonly used type, are produced by cutting round wire into short length. The typical diameter lies in the range of 0.25 to 0.75 mm. Steel fibers having a rectangular cross section are produced by silting the sheets about 0.25 mm thick. Fiber made from mild steel round wire conforming to IS 218 1976 with the diameter of wire varying from 0.3 to 0.5 mm have been practically used in India. Round steel fibers are produced by cutting or chopping the wire. Flat sheet fibers having a typical cross section ranging from 0.15 to 0.41 mm in thickness and 0.25 to 0.90 mm in width are produced by silting flat sheets. Deformed fiber, which are loosely bounded with water soluble glue in the form of bundle, are also available. Since individual fibers tend to cluster together, their uniform distribution in the matrix is often difficult. This may be avoided by adding fiber bundles which separate during the mixing process. This is steel fibers used in concrete. Next type is polypropylene fiber reinforced cement mortar concrete, that is PFR. Polypropylene is one of the cheapest and abundantly available polymers. Polypropylene fibers are resistant to most chemical and it would be cementitious matrix which would be deteriorate first under aggressive chemical attack. Its melting point is high, about 165 degrees centigrade, so that a working temperature as 100 degrees centigrade may be sustained for a short period without detriment to fiber properties. Polypropylene fiber, being hydrophobic, can be easily mixed as they do not need lengthy contact during mixing and only need to be evenly distressed in the mix. Polypropylene short fibers in Small volume frictions between 0.5 to 15 commercially used in concrete. These are polypropylene fiber reinforced cement concrete. Next one is glass fiber reinforced concrete, that is GFRC. Glass fiber is made up of 200 to 400 individual filaments which are lightly bounded to make up a stand. This stand can be chopped into various lengths or combined to make both cloth mat or a tap. Using the conventional mixing techniques for normal concrete, it is not possible to mix more than about 2% by volume of fibers of a length of 25 mm. The major appliances of glass fiber has been in reinforcing the cement or mortar matrix used in the production of thin sheet products. The commonly used varieties of glass fibers are E-glass used in the reinforced of plastics, and AR glass. E-glass has inadequate resistance to alkalis present in Portland cement, where AR glass has improved alkali resistant characteristics. Sometimes polymers are also added in the mixes to improve some physical properties such as moisture movement. Next one is asbestos fiber. The naturally available inexpensive mineral fiber asbestos has been successfully combined with Portland cement to form a widely used product called as asbestos cement. Asbestos fiber here thermal, mechanical and chemical resistance, making them suitable for sheet product pipes, tiles and corrugated roofing elements. Asbestos cement board is approximately 2 or 4 times that of unreinforced matrix. However, due to relatively short length, that is 10 mm, the fiber have low impact strength. These are asbestos fiber sheets. Next one is carbon fiber. Carbon fiber from the most recent and probably the most spectacular addition to the range of fiber available for commercial use. Carbon fibers comes under the very heavy modulus of elasticity and flexural strength. These are expensive. Their strength and stiffness characteristics have been found to be superior even to those of steel, but they are more vulnerable to damage than even glass timber, and hence are generally treated with resin coating. And the last one is organic fiber. Organic fibers such as polypropylene or natural fiber may be chemically more inert than either steel or glass fiber. They are also cheaper, especially if natural. A large volume of vegetable fiber may be used to obtain a multiple cracking composite. The problem of mixing and uniform dispersion may be solved by adding a superplasticizers. The next type of concrete is high strength concrete. High strength concrete is typically used in the erection of high rise structure. It has been used in components such as columns, especially on lower floors where the loads will be the greatest, shear walls and foundations. High strength are also occasionally used in bridge applications as well. The primary difference between high strength concrete and normal strength concrete relates to the compressive strength, that refers to the maximum resistance of the concrete samples to applied pressure. Likewise, there is not a precise point of separation between high strength concrete and ultra performance concrete, which has greater compressive strength than high strength concrete and other superior properties. Manufacture of high strength concrete involves making optimal use of the basic ingredients that constitute normal strength concrete. Producer of high strength concrete know that factors affect compressive strength and know how to manipulate those factors to achieve the required strength. In addition to selecting a highway quality Portland cement, producer optimize aggregates, then optimize the combination of material by varying the proportion of cement, water, aggregate and admixture. When selecting aggregate for high strength concrete, producer consider the strength of the aggregate, the optimized size of the aggregate, the bond between the cement paste and the aggregate, and the surface characteristics of the aggregate. Any of these properties could limit the ultimate strength of high strength concrete. Pozzolanas such as fly ash and silica fumes are the most commonly used mineral admixture in the high strength concrete. This material imparts additional strength to the concrete by reacting with Portland cement hydration product to create additional CSH gel, the part of the paste responsible for concrete strength. It would be difficult to produce high strength concrete mixtures without using chemical admixture. A common practice is to use superplasticizer in combination with water reducing retarder. The superplasticizer gives the concrete adequate workability at, at low water cement ratios, leading to concrete with greater strength. The water reducing retarder slows the hydration of the cement and allow worker more time to place the concrete. High strength concrete is specified where reduced weight is important or where architectural consideration call for small support elements. By carrying load more efficiently than normal strength concrete, high strength concrete also reduces the total amount of material placed and lower the overall cost of the structure. High strength concrete is achieved by reducing porosity, inhomogeneity, and micro cracks in the hydrated cement paste and the transition zone. Consequently, there is a reduction of the thickness of the interfacial transmission zone in high strength concrete. The densification of the interfacial transmission zone allow for efficient load transfer between the cement mortar and the coarse aggregate, contributing to the strength of the concrete. For very high strength concrete where the matrix is extremely dense, a weak aggregate may become the weak link in concrete strength. This is sheets or made up of high strength concrete. So here is the difference between normal strength concrete and high strength concrete. Micro cracks are developed in the normal strength concrete when its compressive strength reaches 40% of the strength. The cracks interconnected when the stress reaches 80 to 90% of the strength. For high strength concrete, Iravani and McGarger reported linearity of the stress strength diagram at 65 to 70, 75 to 80, and above 80% of the peak load for concrete with compressive strength 65, 95, and 105 MPa. The fracture surface in NSC is rough. The fracture develops along transition zone between the matrix and aggregate. Fewer aggregate particles are broken. The fracture surface in HSC is smooth. The cracks move without discontinuities between the matrix and aggregates. High strength concrete and high performance concrete are not synonyms because strength and performance of concrete are different properties of concrete. The next type is high performance concrete. High performance means that the concrete has one or more of the following properties: low shrinkage, low permeability, high modulus of elasticity, high strength. High strength concrete is typically recognized as concrete with a 28-day cylinder compressive strength greater than 6000 psi or 42 MPa. The composition of high performance concrete, that is HPC, are almost same as those of conventional cement concrete CCC, but because of lower water cement ratio, presence of pozzolana and chemical admixtures etc., the HPC usually have many features which distinguish them from CCCs. From practical considerations in concrete construction, apart from the final strength, the rate of development of strength is also very important. The high performance concrete usually contains both pozzolanic and chemical admixtures, hence the rate of hydration of cement and the rate of strength of development in HPC is quite different from that of conventional cement concrete. For high strength concrete, however, all the components of concrete mixtures are pushed to their limits. Therefore, it is necessary to pay careful attention to all aspects of concrete production, that is selection of material, mix design, handling and placing. Talking about composition of HPC, high performance concrete, the most common composition of high performance concrete as supplementing cementitious material or mineral admixture: silica fumes, fly ash, CGBFS, that is ground granulated blast furnace slag. Very first one is silica fumes in HPC. Silica fumes is a waste byproduct of the production of silicon and silicon alloys. Silica fume is available in different forms, of which the most commonly used now is in the densified form. In developed countries, it is already available radially blended with cement. It is possible to make high strength concrete without silica fume at compressive strength of up to 98 MPa. Beyond that strength level, however, silica fume becomes essential. With silica fume, it is easier to make HPC for strength between 63 to 98 MPa. Second one is fly ash in HPC. Fly ash, of course, been used extensively in concrete for many years. Fly ash is unfortunately much more variable than silica fumes in both their physical and chemical characteristics. Most fly ashes will result in strength of not more than 70 MPa. Therefore, for higher strength, silica fume must be used in conjunction with fly ash. For high strength concrete, fly ash is used as at doses rate about 15% of cement content. And third one is ground granulated blast furnace slag. Slags are suitable for use in high strength concrete as dosage rates between 15 to 30%. However, for very high strength in excess of 98 MPa, it is necessary to use the slag in conjunction with silica fumes. Here are some key features of high performance concrete. Compressive strength is more than 80 MPa, even up to 800 MPa also. Water binder ratio is 0.25 to 0.35, therefore very little free water. Reduced flocculation of cement grains, wide range of grain size, densified cement paste, no bleeding homogeneous mix, less capillary porosity, discontinuous pores, stronger transition zone at the interface between cement paste and aggregate, low free lime content, endogenous shrinkage, powerful confinement of aggregate, little micro cracking until 65 to 70% of FCK, smooth fracture surface. The next type of concrete is nano concrete. Nano concrete is defined as a concrete made by filling the pores in traditional concrete using nanoparticles of size less than 500 nanometers. Then the mechanical properties of concrete such as compressive strength, tensile strength and flexural strength of the respective specimens were tested after 7 days and 20 days curing. Nanotechnology in civil field has proved to make the construction faster, cheaper, safer and more varied. Automation of nanotechnology construction can allow for the creation of structures from advanced home to skyscrapers much more quickly and efficiently. Amorphous nanosilica particles were incorporated in cement concrete and their effect on the fresh state behavior was analyzed. Nanoconcrete is defined as the concrete made by filling the pores in traditional concrete using nanoparticles of size less than 500 nanometers. Nanoparticles of silica turns into nanoparticles of cement, that is nanocement, in the chemical reactions that take place in the concoction of the concrete. When concrete is reduced to nano level, its properties are strongly influenced so that it increases their strength and durability. Addition of nanosilica to the concrete leads to improve the material passing, which result in the densifying of micro and nanostructure. In this project, nanosilica has been replaced in various proportions such as 5%, 10%, 15% and 20% to the weight of cement. Then the mechanical properties of concrete such as compressive strength, tensile strength and the flexural strength of the respective specimen were tested after 7 days and 20 days curing. Results have been obtained and compared with conventional concrete mix. Nano concrete was concluded to have a higher strength than the ordinary concrete. Concrete, the most ambitious material in the world, is a nanostructures multi-phased composite material that ages over time. It is composed of an amorphous phase, nanometer to micrometer size crystals and bound water. The amorphous phase calcium silicate hydrate, that is CSH, is the glue that holds concrete together and is itself a nanomaterial. Viewed from the bottom up, concrete at the nanoscale is a composite of molecular assemblages, surfaces, aggregate fibers and chemicals bond that interact through local chemical reaction, intermolecular forces and emphasis diffusion. Properties characterizing this scale are molecular structure, surface, functional groups and bond length, strength and density, the structure of the amorphous and crystalline phases and of the interface boundaries originates from the scale. This is nano concrete. The last type is light transmitting concrete. Light transmitting concrete is achieved by replacing aggregate with transparent alternate materials. The bonding material in light transmitting concrete may be able to transmit light by using clear resin the concrete mix. Use of optical fiber and fine concrete also used as light transmitting concrete. Light transmitting concrete is produced by mixing 4% to 5% by volume optical fibers in the concrete mixture. This concrete has less weight compared to original concrete. This is light transmitting concrete. Material of light transmitting concrete. Light transmitting concrete is manufactured by a combination of fiber optics and fine concrete. These fibers blend into the concrete like any other aggregate. These optical fibers can transmit light from natural and artificial sources into spaces enclosed by the translucent concrete panels. The main reason for using optical fiber in concrete is that it can transmit light even an incident angle greater than 600. Optical fibers consist of 3 layers called as core, cladding and buffer coating of jacket. The light is transmitted through the core of optical fiber. Light transmitting concrete is manufactured using fine materials only. It does not contain coarse aggregate. This concrete can have the compressive strength of that of high strength concrete around 70 MPa, that is 10,000 psi. The material used are cement. As the optical fiber is only responsible for transmission of light, there is no special cement required, so ordinary Portland cement is used for light transmitting concrete. Second one is sand. Since the light transmitting concrete is manufactured only using fine materials, the sand should pass through 1.1 mmCu. The sand should be free from any impurities such as vegetation, large stones, etc. Water to be used for light transmitting concrete should be drinking water quality, free from impurities. And last one is optical fibers. Optical fibers in the range of 4 to 5% by volume is used for light transmitting concrete. Thickness of optical fibers can be varied between 2 micrometer to 2 mm to suit the particular requirement of light transmission. Here are some advantages of light transmitting concrete. The main advantage of light transmitting concrete is that it can transmit light. There it can be used to make green building, since it can transmit light from natural as well as artificial sources. The building can have fewer lights to meet its demand for lighting, thus saving huge energy cost. Light transmitting concrete uses sunlight as source of light instead of electrical energy and reduces power consumption. This concrete can also be used cold countries to transmit heat with sunlight.